Hi, and welcome to Craft Along with Jay. I am so happy you could join me today. Today is another challenge day. It's the first of the month, and the theme is sweet summertime fruit. The hosts are Rustic and Lay's DIY and Crystal's Crafty DIY. And don't forget when you're done with this video, go down to my description box and check out the playlist and show everybody some love. All right, for project number one, I have these fruit molds that I picked up on Amazon. It's strawberry, pineapple, watermelon, and lemon. And then we need some clay, and let's have some fun creating some fruit. The first thing we do is just add a little baking soda into our trays. This one I fill up all six of them, but I'm ending up making four of each fruit. And here I'm getting my clay ready. And then I just start um, pushing it into the mold. We'll make some strawberries first. And these are actually quite big and quite deep, so you can do a lot with these clay molds. And here I'm making four of each. Start with the strawberries, and here I'll show you what they look like. Look at that. I think those molds are so good. It makes them look really, really nice. And here I made some melon, and now we're making some pineapple. Look at that. Very detailed. And then we get some melon. Then we'll start with some apple red, and we'll paint some strawberries and the watermelon with that color. I'm not going to show you me painting all of them. Don't worry. I'm going to show parts of the colors that I'm using throughout. Because this was very time consuming. There we go. Now we're working on the melon. And then we're working on the the lemon. And this color is it moon yellow? I think. And then we'll do some Kelly green and some, nope, that's all we're using right now. Some Kelly green for the tops of the strawberries. And then we'll use pale daffodil for the outside of the lemon. It's a little bit lighter than the middle part. And then I'm mixing the Kelly green and is it shadow moss? I think. And those two are kind of mixed. Painted one color at a time, but one was still wet. I added the other color in there. So I gave it a little bit more definition. And here I'm just using some black paint. I'm making little dots in my watermelon and the dots in the strawberries. So while they're drying, I had this wood cutout mason jar that I had already stripped of the paper and I painted it with the white paint. Then I have the melon napkin from the Dollar Tree. I got my little lemon that I made with the clay and some tiles, some letter tiles. And then we'll add some Mod Podge to the mason jar. And when that's dry, we'll take a little napkin. I love this napkin. It is so pretty. And I like the shape of it too. So I'm just getting it lined up. And then I'll add my parchment paper. And then I'll use my little mini heat press and we'll get that thing ironed onto our mason jar. And then I'm just kind of lifting on the edges to make sure it's um, glued down all the way around. There's no loose ends. And then I'll just take my little sanding block and sand off the excess. And then I'll use my Titebond wood glue to glue on the top, the little galvanized top for my mason jar. I'll add that back on. Like so. And then I'll just add some of the clips to hold it in place while that's drying. It doesn't dry as fast as hot glue. And then I'm just going to play around with the placement of my letter tiles and my little lemon slices. So the first word is sweet. And you can probably already guess the second word. So it'll be sweet lemonade. And I'm just working on the placement, how I want it on my jar. Then I'll place my little lemon slices. We'll make some summer lemonade for the summer. All right, so I'm just using hot glue to glue down my tiles. So the word sweet, I kind of want it kind of wonky. I didn't want it straight. But the word lemonade, I want it straight across. So that's why I have a little ruler. There we go. And then I'm going to use my wood glue to glue down my lemon slices. Then I got one of these beaded lemon thingies. I forgot what I called, but we're going to use two for this one. I cut off the lemon slice, and then I'm just gluing down the beads all the way around. And I'm going to leave the tassel on there because I think it gave it such a nice little extra um, embellishment. I thought that was kind of cute. So I left it on, but if you don't like it, you can certainly cut that off as well. But you will need two strings of the beads to make it around. And here I'm working on the second strand. And then when I get to the top, instead of making a knot at the end, I just add some hot glue into the hole of the bead, enough to hold everything in place and the beads won't fall off. And then I decided to add some more going across the lid of my mason jar. And then I decided to glue the other tassel on there so it has one on each side. I think it looks super cute. Let me know what you think about this one. All right, so on for project number 2. I got one of these pineapple little thingies from the Dollar Tree, and I got some boxwood from Walmart. Then we're going to use some pale daffodil, some Kelly green, and I think this is shadow moss, if I'm not mistaken. And I'll end up using some maize yellow as well. It's kind of like an afterthought once I got started painting. So we do the pale daffodil first, and we're just going to do the bottom part of the fruit. And we'll do it, the front, the back, and the sides. And here's what I'm adding, the maize. No, that's not maize. That's the moon yellow, I think it's called. It's a little bit darker. And while the pale daffodil is still wet, I add the next one just to give it some definition and colors. And I go all the way around. And then I'll take my Kelly green and my shadow moss. And then first I do the Kelly green, and while that's still wet, I'll add the other green on top to give that some definition as well. I think that looks super cute and a bit more realistic, as you can make wood look, I guess. So here we go. That's what it looks like. Then I'm going to take Hazelnut by Waverly and a very fine tip brush, and I'm going to make these little shape thingies on a pineapple. And I'll do that all the way up on both sides. I'm not quite sure if it looks like it's supposed to do, but I tried my best. Then I put a little bit of floral foam in between the pineapples, and then I'll cut down some boxwood greenery, and I'll add that in there. I think this one ended up super cute too. Very easy, very quick, but very cute. May even look really cute on a tier tray as well. So there we go. And that's what that looks like. Let me know what you think about this one as well. All right, project number 3. We're going to use one of these little wood rounds from the Walmart, and I got this napkin at Dollar General. I love that napkin. It reminds me of a picnic tablecloth. Then some of my fruit and some more letter tiles, and I'm going to paint my wood round with white, and then I'm going to add some Mod Podge, let it dry, and then put my napkin on top and my parchment paper, and then use my mini heat press to iron that um, onto the wood round. Once you put the heat on, the Mod Podge activates and it glues down the napkin without any wrinkles, so that's really nice. Yep, just lifting up a little bit just to see if there's any little loose edges, and there was, and I ironed that down. And then we'll take our little sanding block and sand all the way around the edge to get rid of the excess napkin. There we go. And then I'll take my little clay fruits and kind of play with my placement again of how I want this to lay out. And I'm going to go all the way around on the outside. It almost looks like a little wreath. There we go. And then I'm putting in my letter tiles just to make sure that I have enough space to add them where I want them. So the first word is summer. Here you see I have to kind of move them a little bit. So it's always best to kind of play around with it before you start gluing it down. So that way you still have the flexibility to move it around and not ruin the napkin underneath. And here for the second word, I'll put in the word time. And luckily it all fits. Then I'm going to use the Titebond to glue down my fruit pieces. Like so. I'm really pleased with how my fruit pieces turned out. Those molds are really great. There we go. And then again, I'm just going to use some wood hot glue to glue down the letter tiles, because then you'll get an instant hold and they're not as heavy as the clay fruits. So, yep, that's why I decided to use the hot glue for those. Get those down. There we go. Then I'm going to take some jute twine and I'm just going to, there's a little bit of an edge um, on, on the wood round on the top and the bottom. And that's why I decided to add just a little extra um, jute twine. Give it a little bit more of a definition as well. And this is what it looks like. I think it turned out super duper cute. Let me know what you think about this one as well. I think it's adorable. All right, project number 4. This one is so easy. This is just a beautiful little kitchen hand towel, a dish towel from the Dollar Tree, $1.25, and you just need some polyfill, or you can use an old pillow, use the stuffing from that. And I just folded the dish towel in half, got the little tag off because that was just going to get in my way. And then we're just going to glue along the edges. I'm going to make a nice little summer pillow. And this one is going to go on my bench on my front porch. It is, I love the design of this. It's so pretty. It's spring, summer. Springs. It screams summer is what I meant to say. Oh, Lordy. All right, let me just kind of glue around the edges. Almost all the way around. We got to leave a little opening to put in some polyfill to fluff it up to a nice looking pillow. And there we go. And it already has a nice stitching on the edges. So that's why I'm gluing it on the outside so you can still see it. It looks like it's sewn together like that. So it actually worked out really well. And who would have thought you could make such a nice, pretty summer pillow out of a dish towel, hand towel, um, from the Dollar Tree, $1.25. Can't beat that anywhere. So I'm just stuffing it up and getting some nice fluffiness to my pillow. And then I'll just um, glue the little opening shot that I have left open to get the polyfill in. And that's really it for this one. So simple, but yet very cute. So I'm just going to fluff it out. And that's what it looks like. I may actually go back and get another one so I can have two pillows out there. I think it's cute. What do you think about this one? Let me know. All right, the finished view. And here they all are. It's very summery, very colorful. I just love it. I want to thank you so much for joining me today, and I'm so happy you made it all the way to the end with me. I truly appreciate it. And don't forget, if you haven't already done so, please like, comment, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Until next time.